boy stood there with his hand half raised, not begging, not crying, just waiting. The millionaire didn't slow down, didn't look at the boy's face, didn't hear the question forming in his mouth. He brushed past him like the kid was part of the sidewalk, like a shadow that didn't matter. The boy's hand stayed raised for a second longer, then slowly dropped. Years later, in a quiet hospital room filled with machines that measured everything except meaning, that same man will remember that moment with painful clarity. Not the deals, not the money, not the buildings with his name engraved on them, but the boy he chose not to see. Leonard Whitmore believed in momentum. You move fast or you got left behind. You seized opportunities or watched other people take them. That belief had made him rich. At 56, Leonard was worth more than most people could imagine. Tech investments, commercial real estate, quiet stakes in companies that touched millions of lives. Business magazines called him visionary. Disciplined, unemotional in the best way. Leonard liked that description. Emotion complicated things. Emotion slowed decisions. He preferred numbers. That afternoon, he exited the Grand Helix Hotel. Phone pressed his ear, mind already racing ahead to the next meeting. His driver waited at the curb. His assistant walked half a step behind, tapping notes into a tablet. Time was currency, and Leonard hated wasting it. The boy had been sitting there for nearly an hour. His name was Caleb Morris, and he was 11 years old, too thin for his age, hoodie 2 sizes too big, shoes with the soles peeling open at the front. He sat on the wide stone steps near the hotel entrance, backpack at his feet, watching people pass. Most of them didn't look at him. Some tightened their grip on their bags. A few frowned, like his presence lowered the value of the place. Caleb wasn't supposed to be there, but he was lost. His mother worked nights cleaning office buildings. That morning, she dropped him off near downtown before his shift ended, thinking he could find his way to the public library. The library was his safe place. Free internet, quiet corners, warm in the winter, but he'd taken the wrong bus. Now, he didn't know where he was. When Caleb saw Leonard step out of the hotel, confident, well-dressed, surrounded by people who seemed to orbit him, he stood up, not because he knew who Leonard was, but because grown men like that always seem to have answers. "Excuse me, sir," Caleb said softly. Leonard didn't hear him. He was already walking. Caleb took a step closer. "Sir, I just wanted to ask." Leonard shifted his phone to his other ear and moved around him without breaking stride. The boy's words dissolved into the noise of the street. Cars passed. Shoes clicked on stone. Someone laughed nearby. Caleb stood there, frozen, watching the man disappear into a waiting car. The door closed. The car pulled away. And just like that, the moment was over. No one stopped. No one noticed. Caleb slowly lowered his hand. Caleb hadn't been asking for money. He hadn't been asking for food. He'd been asking for directions. That was all. He waited another 10 minutes before approaching someone else. A woman in a business suit. She shook her head without slowing down. A couple avoided eye contact. Finally, a security guard pointed him toward a bus stop. By the time Caleb reached the library, it was nearly closing. He sat at a computer and stared at the blank screen for a long time. Not angry, just aware. That day taught him something he never forgot. Some people don't see you. Not because they're cruel, but because you don't register as important enough to notice. Caleb's life didn't change dramatically after that day. It just kept going. School was hard, but he was smart. Teachers noticed. One counselor pushed him toward a summer program for kids with potential. He worked part-time jobs as soon as he was old enough. Stocked shelves, cleaned floors, delivered groceries. He learned to move quietly. He learned to listen. And he learned never to expect help from people who looked powerful. That lesson stayed with him longer than any textbook. Leonard Whitmore never thought about the boy again. Why would he? He closed deals, expanded portfolios, bought another condo he barely used. He donated to charities his assistant selected, attended galas when it benefited his image, gave speeches about discipline and self-reliance. From the outside, his life looked complete. From the inside, it was efficient, clean, lonely in a way he didn't acknowledge. Caleb graduated high school near the top of his class. College wasn't guaranteed, but scholarships came through. He studied computer science, spending nights in labs, weekends tutoring classmates for extra money. He didn't party. He didn't network aggressively. He built things, small systems, efficient tools, programs that solved problems people ignored because they weren't glamorous. After graduation, he took contract work, hospital systems, nonprofits, underfunded institutions that needed quiet fixes, not flashy innovation. His reputation grew slowly, not loud enough for headlines, strong enough for trust. Leonard's health failed faster than his money ever had. The diagnosis came suddenly, aggressive, unforgiving. Doctors spoke carefully, but the truth was clear. Money couldn't negotiate with biology. Leonard found himself confined to a private hospital room overlooking a city he no longer moved through. Meetings happened without him. Deals slowed. The world didn't stop just because he did. One afternoon, a young consultant was brought in to assess a data failure in the hospital systems. The man entered with a tablet under his arm. "Good afternoon," he said. "I'm Caleb Morris." Leonard barely looked up. "Fix whatever's broken," he said. "Talk to my assistant." Caleb paused, then looked at Leonard's face and froze. Caleb recognized him instantly. Older, thinner, but unmistakable. The hotel steps, the phone pressed to his ear, the way he hadn't slowed down. Leonard noticed the pause. "What?" he snapped. "Is there a problem?" Caleb swallowed. "No, sir," he said calmly. "I'll take care of it." And he did, quietly, efficiently, professionally. But as he turned to leave, Leonard spoke again. "Wait," he said. "What did you say your name was?" "Caleb," he replied. "Caleb Morris." Something shifted inside Leonard. That night, Leonard couldn't sleep. A memory surfaced. Hotel steps. A boy's voice. A hand raised halfway. He had ignored dozens of people like that over the years. But this one felt different, because the boy had grown up and walked back into his life without needing anything from him. Leonard asked his assistant to bring Caleb back the next day. When Caleb entered, Leonard studied him more closely. "You look familiar," Leonard said slowly. Caleb nodded. "I should." Silence stretched. "Years ago," Leonard said. "Did we meet?" "Yes," Caleb replied. "Briefly." Leonard swallowed. "I didn't stop." "No," Caleb said. "You didn't." Leonard nodded once. "I should have." Caleb considered him. "Maybe," he said, "but that moment taught me something important." "What?" Leonard asked. "That I couldn't build my life waiting for someone else to notice me." Leonard offered help. Funding. Connections. Opportunities. Caleb declined politely. "I'm doing fine," he said, and he meant it. For the first time in his life, Leonard understood something money couldn't fix. Some moments don't come back. Leonard Whitmore passed away months later. His obituary listed accomplishments, buildings, companies, donations. It didn't mention a boy on hotel steps. But Caleb remembered, and every time he saw someone standing uncertainly, looking lost, he stopped. The millionaire ignored the poor black kid. Years later, he regretted it. Not because the kid failed, but because he didn't. Sometimes the smallest moments carry the longest consequences. The next person you overlook might be the one who reminds you who you could have been.